a troublemaker. I've been a late-night player. I've been broke as a joke. I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, lock, and stop and let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip-hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger. Make my Jaeger.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Sports Buzz, a fanatical view. As we blow up the set immediately. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, dealing with a little feedback in the background. What was that all about? Good way to start the show. This is live television. We can't do nothing about that.
Yeah.
We all saw what happens on live television the other night at the Oscars.
Yes, that was a big mistake.
All right, so where are we? What are we doing? We're downtown Denver, Connecticut on this March 2nd. It's March.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
It is March 2nd.
Winter is back after the 70-degree weather we had today. Is pretty chilly out there.
That wind was at 50-mile-an-hour gusts.
A lot of tree limbs down. A lot of people lost power. Thankfully, I did not, and where I was working today did not either, so that was good. Hope everybody else out there is okay with that. But yeah, very cold today. It's supposed to be cold this weekend.
Yes.
So winter is not over yet.
No.
Because people were starting to think maybe it was. But we are here, March 2nd, and ready to do our show. We'll be here until 7 o'clock. If you want to call in, 203-792-4101. Talk about sports. Maybe you want to call in and wish our production assistant extraordinaire, Mr. Connor Faco, a happy birthday.
Yeah, number 12.
Number 12. It's today?
Today.
Actually, today on show day.
Yeah. You know who else's birthday's today?
Who else?
Dr. Seuss's.
Dr. Seuss. Well,
yes.
He's in good company.
Yes.
Maybe I'll wish my buddy Jesse Salva a little happy birthday. My godson was birthday just 2 days ago, Tuesday. So it's a big week for birthdays.
Yes.
How about that?
It's great.
Yeah, so all right. Bob's show, let's say hello officially to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Raw Jr.
How are you, Scott?
I'm doing okay, not too bad. Still wondering what happened at the Oscars.
I know. I mean, how do you give the wrong envelope, first of all? I know he was doing something he shouldn't have been doing.
Tweeting.
Yeah.
Paying attention to his phone and hobnobbing with the celebrities backstage.
Yep, and they told him prior to getting there, do not repeat.
Well, he won't be doing that again because he won't be having that job. I think the whole what's that company's name? I think they're out.
Yeah.
They're out
They're
overall.
literally out.
Let's mention Bob's show Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. Anything special coming up for us to look forward to?
Nothing really. I mean, I do have news.
That's right. Bob has some big news for Danbury Westerners fans
fans
and local sports fans. Why don't you go ahead?
Drum
roll, please.
We have the doctor will be in the house.
Speaking of Dr.
9th.
Seuss, we have a different doctor to talk about.
Doc Gooden will be in the house.
Wow. Dwight Gooden, Dr. K, will be the keynote speaker, as it were, for the Celebrity Breakfast annual Danbury Westerners charity event this year. When is the date?
It's June 9th.
Wow. Dwight Gooden. That's going to be interesting, Bob, because we saw him in recent months not looking too good at some of his public speaking events. Yeah. We know he has that lifelong battle with drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and he didn't look good at all as he made the rounds with Daryl Strawberry. They were doing something. Was that for a book or what was that?
They had like a documentary or something.
Right. Okay. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of shape he is in, how he does with the speaking engagement, and all that. But that is pretty big news. I'm sure a lot of people will be anxious to come down and see him speak.
Yes.
Local Mets fans.
Yankee fans as
Yankee
well.
fans and Red Sox fans who were tormented by him in '86 World Series will be wondering what he has to say about that. So that is interesting. Our director, Mr. Mike Toohey, is in there. Expose Cinema, his show Friday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 1. He did a great Oliver's this year. Excellent show we did the other night leading into the Oscars, so that was great.
How close were your Olivers?
Well, his Olivers aren't about the Oscars. He has some different categories.
Oh, okay.
Some really good ones, actually. He should re-air that a couple times. Make sure people get a chance to see that because it was quite good. I was entertained while directing it, so he did a good job with that. I was on Kevin's show, our former evil director, Time Out with Kevin Gallagher.
2 weeks, right?
The last 2 weeks, we did 2 parts. We did the actor categories in week 1, and last week we did the director and picture and a couple of the subcategories. And as far as knowing who the front runners were, I was pretty much on point with that. I knew who was supposed to win and who pretty much did. There wasn't that many surprises, but at the end of the night, there sure was a big, huge surprise as they announced La La Land. And if you had watched Time Out with Kevin Gallagher, you would have known that I did not think that that movie should win. I didn't necessarily think that Moonlight should win. But that was a good movie, and that was a huge shock. The way it unfolded, giving the wrong envelope to Warren Beatty, who was confused on stage, not sure what to do, and Faye Dunaway just goes ahead and blurts out the announcement, and the La La Land people come up. All right, so you want to know what happened to me, Bob?
Yeah.
I was watching, right?
Yeah.
And the Oscars goes longer than ever. Every year they say it's going to go shorter. And this year was the longest one ever. Ended past midnight. I had fallen asleep during the middle part of the show. I woke up and was like, well, that's no big deal because it's still going and I haven't missed any of the big awards. So I watched the end. The director for La La Land won Best Director moments before that. And so they announced Best Picture, La La Land wins. And I'm like, well, I saw the director already give the speech.
Yeah, so.
I don't need to see this. I turned the TV off.
Oh, you turned the.
I turn it off. In the morning, I read the newspaper, and Moonlight wins. I'm like, what did I miss?
You missed a big part.
Huge commotion on the stage. People not knowing what happened. And Moonlight getting the big shock of all times. Not only did they win, but they won in a way that will never be duplicated again, where the other movie was up there and they were 2 speeches in by the time they made the correction and they announced this is not a joke. And speaking of jokes, I thought Jimmy Kimmel was actually quite good.
He was. I thought he was one of the best that they've had in a long time.
Yeah, in recent memory at least. He really did a nice job.
I mean, he's a host. He does know how to.
He set the tone properly. He didn't, stumble over everything. He kept things moving. He kept himself engaged throughout the night. A lot of times they do the big, speech at the end or at the beginning to set it up, the monologue, and then they kind of just throw a couple jokes here and there, but they're out of it. But he was really engaging throughout the whole show. Did a really good job. I think he handled the Trump thing very well. I mean, he certainly didn't avoid it, but he didn't go over the top, and his jokes were funny. I mean, they were, some of them were, if you're a Trump fan, maybe you didn't think they were funny, but I mean, I thought they were funny, and he handled it quite well. And the speeches that everybody gave did not go overboard. There were subtle references to political things, but nobody made it a platform to, blast any politicians or anything like that. So I thought overall it was good, and then it had the ending to, of all endings.
Oh, yeah.
So pretty interesting what happened. It reminded me, well, where's our man Strange Man with the envelope? Imagine if he gave me one of his, if he would show up with an envelope and he had the wrong information in it.
You said you've been getting some interesting...
We're going to have to get into this sports stuff soon. We're stammering ourselves right now, filling time, because as you can see, one side of my notes is blank. The other is not really filled in that much.
So I mean, so you have been getting hear from him very much.
Strange Man, we know he sometimes goes on the ledge, Bob. He is on the ledge right now because he's getting false. Speaking of false information, WFAN is doing him a disservice with their hockey updates because he keeps texting me these faulty standings that are just outrageous. We're going to get into that in a minute. I do want to mention Daytona 500 took place this weekend. Did you watch any of that, Bob?
The actual race or the 90% of the wrecks?
I had the race on. I was doing stuff around the house, and every time I tried to get into it, it was another red flag. Caution, yellow flag, I guess it was, as there was wreck after wreck after wreck. There was only a handful of race car drivers who made it unscathed to the finish line. A ton of drivers were out, including Earnhardt Jr. Danica Patrick was leading at one point late, and then there was another wreck, and she finally went out. And our boy Joey Logano, the Middletown kid, Connecticut kid, he was leading for some period of time. What did you think of the new rules, Bob? And this may have led to some of these wrecks as guys were trying to get points early in the race with winning stages.
Yeah.
And it set the tone.
Yeah, there's stages in each part of the race, which makes no sense to me now because my heart of racing from even back in the days of the race arena, we went out and we raced. We weren't, you go so far, and when you get to a certain point, you get out, go get gas, and then get back on or tires. But
these guys were racing for points, which they were causing them to stay on the track because they didn't want to change tires until after these stages were over.
Right.
And it was also causing them to be aggressive. I thought Jeff Gordon did a pretty good job announcing.
Yeah, he's
kind of a natural.
A very good job.
And he was talking about why are these guys going 3 and 4 wide at this stage of the race? There's so much time left, and you should be concentrating on winning the race. And they were just jeopardizing themselves. And sure enough, it was wreck after wreck after wreck. Logano, I thought for a little while he was going to be the beneficiary.
Right.
He was in a pretty good spot for a while, but he fell back. He did give somebody a big, huge push in that final 2 laps. It wasn't enough for him, and he said after the race, and this is what happened to him down the stretch last year in the playoffs, you need more friends on the track, and Logano needs to find himself some friends out there.
Speaking of the race.
What do you got?
One of our race arena grandsons was in it. Corey LaJoy.
Oh yeah.
Yep. He made the 500.
Okay. And LaJoy's a big racing name.
Yes. And he actually had in the car. He had the Snira flag with him.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
Did he end up in a wreck?
No.
So he finished the race. That's pretty cool. How about the fact, it's Kurt Busch. Which Busch brother was it?
Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch wins his first time ever. He finished, I think, third a couple of times. Had he finished second? I think he had finished third a couple of times.
Right. And
so he wins, but how about this? Tony Stewart, in the ownership seat, finally gets a Daytona win. He had never won Daytona.
No.
And he says, I've been here 18 years and never could sniff it. And I finally show up as an owner and I get the win. So, it was good for him to get the win. I'm sure he would have loved to have actually won a race there at some point. But Kurt Busch was overjoyed. Joe Logano, he's going to need to do a little, he's won. Well, he won it. Was it last year that he won?
Yes.
Yeah, so he has won it. But he does, as he said, and we talked about this, he needs help on the track.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's just kind of out there on his own a little bit. And he's not getting the help. All right, I did also want to mention spring training is a couple weeks underway now. And the news came out of Red Sox camp today that David Price is going to see Dr. Jack Andrews
for
shoulder discomfort. And when you go see Dr. Jack,
usually that means goodbye season.
Right.
Speaking of people who are having problems, David Wright's career
could be over.
Yeah,
it sounds like it's definitely over. He can't even throw the baseball, right?
Something in the shoulder.
And he's got back issues as well. What do you make of the whole Tim Tebow spectacle going on in Mets camp, Bob? Why do we have to pay attention to Tim Tebow?
Because it's a grapefruit league.
He's hitting home runs in batting practice.
I mean, I do not see him in a. Maybe he'll end up in the minor league somewhere, as an instructor, but I do not see him as a player. I mean, I've seen stranger things happen.
Right.
He would have to be an A ball or double A to get going anywhere, because I don't see him coming up to the majors.
I don't either. That would be a shocker of all shockers if he could actually become a major league player.
Because you would have to start in at least double A and work your way up to.
I don't know, but Red Sox fans are going to have to keep their eye on David Price. Another thing to mention as we're talking about, it's March, the Ides of March, spring is in the air, Daytona, the SI, and we didn't really get into it the other week, but the swimsuit edition is here. And we found a few good photos. That one right there is pretty good.
Well, we also said that it wasn't as exciting as in past years.
Well, we did find the good photos. So if you did see these shots, you might disagree with that statement. But overall, I was not all that impressed with the addition this year, with the shots I was looking for. I did, obviously find a few good shots, but no, I didn't think it was that great this year. The last couple of years, I thought we were definitely a little bit better.
Right.
But, still, it's a swimsuit edition, and it is a nice reminder that better weather is on the way. And that is a good thing.
Come April, we will be heading to Disneyland.
Really?
Yes.
My friends of mine were just down there. They had a great time.
Yeah, we'll be heading to Florida for
spring break?
Spring break.
All right. Well, we will look forward to seeing how that goes. All right, here it is. Let's get Strange Man off the ledge. Maybe he's watching. Maybe he wants to call in. 203-792-4101. He's been calling me enough. He's been texting me enough. We got to straighten out the standings for him in the NHL because he is just out of his mind wondering what is going on. Let's get the record straight.
Okay, let's go. Let's get right to the nitty-gritty here.
His and my Boston Bruins,
yes,
despite the fact that they fired their coach, have been in the top three pretty much all season. So they have been a playoff team throughout. Right now, riding a red-hot streak since the firing of their coach and the new man Campbell taking over. 6-1, much like the Islanders got that big boost after they fired their coach. They have moved into a tie for second place. They have 72 points right now. And let's see, 63 games played, so about a little less than 20 games left.
Right.
So, I mean, things are still tight. Montreal has 78 points in first place in the Atlantic. Ottawa, Boston at 72. So they're in that top three away from the wild card standings because the top three from each division gets in. Yeah. And then there's two wild card teams beyond that to make out the 8 teams per conference. Toronto is behind them at 69. So they have moved 3 points clear of Toronto for that wild card, dropping down to that 4th spot in the division. Florida behind them at 68. And Tampa Bay at 66, Buffalo, Detroit 63-60. So you don't really have to worry about them too much as far as that goes.
Right.
But, it's still pretty much every game matters, including the matchup against your Rangers tonight at 7 o'clock. Big game right there. But they have, put themselves in a pretty good position. The Islanders, the other team who he keeps freaking out about, is at 68 points. So they are currently 1 point out of the wild card. Toronto is that second wild card team right now. Your Rangers, Bob, are still, because their conference, the Metropolitan, is top heavy. Rangers, despite the fact that they have 82 points, are the number one wild card team.
Yes, they are.
But they have the safety net of that big, huge point differential.
Right.
So they're in no danger of missing the playoffs. Of course, it would be nice, but I mean, what do you think, Bob? The standings in the NHL playoffs don't matter as far as seeding goes.
No, it's however that part goes through the.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen one seeds get knocked out early. We've seen 8 seeds make deep runs. So as long as you're in, and the Rangers are clearly going to be in with the 82 points.
Right.
They're 2 out of the second, tied for second. Columbus and Pittsburgh are right now. Washington is running away with the Metropolitan Division. They beat up on your Rangers the other night, and they have 91 points. So they are clear and away, the top team in the East right now, and they made good trades at the deadline. The Bruins, the Rangers, nobody else really made any big-time moves. The Capitals did make some moves. So they clearly, and they have 12 players who will be free agents next year. So the Capitals, the typical choking dogs when it comes to a playoff situation, are saying right now is the time. If not now, then when? And all the fans down in D.C. will be rocking the red, I am sure, come playoff time. But we know their history.
Oh, yeah.
They don't get it done. We'll see if they can get it done this year as they bolstered their defense and they played a physical game against the Rangers the other night. So, Strange Man, do you have that straight if you are watching? Bruins with 72 points in the playoff picture right now, tied for second in the Atlantic. Maybe they catch Montreal. Who knows? Montreal has played a little bit better since Julien got hired there.
Right.
But the important thing is they are 3 points clear of Toronto, ahead of that wild card spot. But they're going to have to keep winning, Bob, because we know what happened the last 2 years. They were in pretty much the same situation in the playoffs throughout the year, and then they had a little bit of a losing streak towards the end, and it came down to that final game of the year, and they lost, and they got put out on the final game of the year. So we know that can happen. So the Bruins have to keep winning. The Islanders, are there as far as possibly, getting in to the playoffs, but they've been making this run, and as Strangeman has rightly pointed out to me, they're on a 9-game road trip right now.
Yeah.
So they are kind of in a tight spot. Let's do a quick thing out west. Minnesota's 88 points, Chicago 85, winners of 5 straight. They did some trades as well. Nashville 73 points in the Western Central Division. San Jose 81, Edmonton 76, Anaheim 74. Our boy, the Connecticut kid Jonathan Quick and his Los Angeles Kings are outside looking in right now at 66 points. Calgary ahead of them at 72. St. Louis 67. So 67 is the wild card that the Kings are behind right now. So they're only 1 point out. Maybe they get in. All right, let's talk NBA because he was also talking to me about the NBA. Huge game last night, Bob. Did you happen to catch any of this?
No.
Celtics at home against Bron and the Cavs.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so you have any pictures of the elbow?
I couldn't find any pictures. Well, maybe. We do have one of Bron. It looked like it's not as clear in the photo as I would like it. Oh, there it is. He's clearing out. Not as clear as some of the other pictures, but he does have that arm extended as he's going for a layup there. Back and forth game, 6 ties, I believe, in the fourth quarter, 7 lead changes, something like that. And, the shocking thing is not only did the Celtics win this game 103-99, but they actually out-rebounded their opponent. I was all ready to come in here today, Bob, and break the bad news to Celtics fans, despite the fact that they're in first in the Atlantic, second in the East at 39-22. I was ready to break the bad news.
Right.
You've probably heard this saying when it comes to NBA sayings, Bob. Rebounds equal rings.
Yes, they do.
And the Celtics are second to last in the league in rebounding.
Right.
And when I watch them play, I go out of my mind as they get out-rebounded time and time again. And on the final possession, second to final possession, they were up 2. What do? They give up another offensive rebound, which led to a wide-open 3, which could have beat them. Thankfully, Darren Williams, freshly acquired from the Cavs, missed it, the 3, and they go on to win the game 103-99. But they did actually out-rebound them in the game, which was pretty impressive. 46-40, I think, was the rebounding edge. So they pull to within 3 games of the Cavs for that number 1 spot in the East. But, the more important thing is Toronto's 36-25 behind them, and they maintain a 3-game lead on them. They want at least the 2 seed, no matter what, which would keep them away from Cleveland until the Eastern Conference Finals. But the bigger problem is they didn't do anything at the trade deadline, Bob.
No.
And they need to shore up this rebounding situation. You cannot be second to last in the league in rebounding and expect to have that not be a big problem in a long series in the NBA playoffs. They have to do something about this. I remind myself that Avery Bradley has been out. He came back just a couple of games ago. Last night was his second game, and he played huge defense down the stretch and also hit a big 3 late. And he is their second best player on the team, and he's been out for 12, 13 games. So I don't want to overreact to the way they've been playing. They lost to the Hawks. They lost to Toronto. They lost to the Bulls right before that 8-day break from the All-Star break.
Which to me it's way too long. You can't go for like 4 days or 3 days.
Yeah, I mean 8 days off. So I didn't want to react to the play coming out of the break because they lost a team like the Celtics, which plays on momentum and energy, and they kind of overachieve. They're a great team unit. They've got Isaiah Thomas. but he clearly was reading some of his press clippings.
Right.
He had his head in the stars. He came out from the break, didn't play well. His 20 point per game, 20 points scored in a game, which he set a record for the Celtics, most consecutive. I think he got up to 46 consecutive, which beat all-time Celtic greats record. That was the longest streak ever in Celtics history. That ended the other night. So, but he did have a big night last night. He did bounce back. So there was things I didn't want to overreact to. The lull maybe after the break, and playing these games without Avery Bradley. But those stats don't lie, Bob.
Right.
They have to do something about the rebounding situation, and we'll see if they can do that going down the stretch. Al Horford would be nice if he played better, Bob. I mean, they did sign him to a $100 million contract. You'd like to think that maybe they could get something out of that. The other big NBA news, Bob, coming out of D.C., his return home after spurring them and not even giving them a meeting. Kevin Durant from the D.C. area returns home. The first time playing with Golden State. He goes out a minute into the game with a sprained knee. He's out for at least a month.
Yeah.
We'll see what that plays out for Golden State, who is 50-10, top team in the league. All right, well, yeah, I do want to mention some college hoops.
Yeah.
Because Strange Man has also been, I don't know what he's watching as far as the UConn men go.
Right.
Because he keeps talking about it'd be nice if they got into the big dance.
Right.
Hello, Strange Man. Are you paying attention? They're below 500. They lost 3 in a row.
Yeah.
They need some miraculous performance in the AAC tournament, which begins next week. They have to win that outright to get a bid. Otherwise, they're not even going to make the NIT.
Right.
So I'm not sure why he thinks they might get in. Kansas is number 1. Nova is number 2. UCLA is number 3. Gonzaga, who finally lost. They were undefeated going into this weekend. They lost to BYU. North Carolina is 5. Oregon, a team I keep hearing a lot about, a team that can score much like UCLA can. Arizona is 6. Louisville, 7.
1 minute.
Kentucky, 8, or was that 9? And West Virginia is 10. So, we'll see what happens. As far as the AAC goes, SMU is ranked 14th. Cincinnati is ranked 18th. The conference tournaments begin next week. We'll see, some upsets happen. Some teams get knocked off the bubble because of that, perhaps. The conference winners getting the automatic bid, which then, knocks other teams out. Oh, are we going to bring the birthday kid in here?
Hello!
What's going on?
Hi.
Keep calm. Read Across America. Reading is fundamental. We like a kid his age reading. It's always important to read. Happy birthday to Connor. How you feeling there, buddy? 12 years old.
Good.
Is it exciting?
Yes.
Yes? How much time do we have? Are we out of time?
We out of time?
That's it?
Yeah.
All right. Happy birthday, Connor.